Hello and welcome to Incremental Factory. We're going to do another run through of the game today. This time the goal is to make the factory as large as possible. We're basically going to go till my computer can't handle it. So let's go into, I'm going to do a challenge mode. I've done this one before. I'm actually going to do this one again because it has the best settings for a large factory. So we're going to give it a go. So a couple things, we're going to hit this 4 times game speed. Right off the bat I've gotten those rewards for completing the game and doing some challenges. So that's going to be nice. We can mine a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to just go over the basics of the game real quick. The beginning is mining stuff manually. It doesn't take long to get it somewhat automated, so we will just go through the mining process here to get everything unlocked. Got some miners set up so that way we don't have to click a whole bunch of times. But we're basically just going to go through, set up some production over here. This is in the headquarters parcel, the only parcel we have access to at the beginning of the game. We'll soon have access to more once we get research up and running. But we are just going to go through and get unlocked. We're trying to get red science unlocked. Right now we have it unlocked so we can start building them. And that way we can unlock the map and the excavation tech. And that will enable us to start building our factory. We've done enough research to unlock the map. The map is here. This is our headquarters parcel, the only parcel we have right now. We're going to set up a couple extra production lines here to get some products flowing. So this is an extraction parcel. It'll be set to max out stone mining. Then we can send stone to this production parcel here. This will send stone. We're going to make nothing but bricks here. And we're going to send bricks on our way to the headquarters. That'll store up some bricks for us. We're already out of power, so let's grab a extraction parcel. Set it to mine coal. Set that into a production node with a whole bunch of coal power plants. And we have 48 power right now. Now we have $560 power. So that'll get us through a little bit. And steel to headquarters. That gets us some steel to start building nodes with. Now we can set up proper factories and get the materials flowing. We've got some basic production chain set up just to get us enough to build with. This, for example, is stone into the node. Node transfers it to the bricks here. We have coal into a node that puts coal into the bricks. That just goes into another node that transfers it to the headquarters. And we actually need a warehouse. Warehouses increase our storage, so we can grab that over to here. Alright, so we've completed all the research that requires red research. We need green research right now. In order to get that, we need copper. In order to get copper, we need to dig down in the mine. The first level in the mine, we can dig down and we don't get attacked. After that, we will get attacked. So we need to build up some defenses. But we need to unlock some research in order to get that done. And to do that, we need copper. So starting to get a little disorganized, so we've unlocked other additional warehouses. So let's go ahead and remove the steel. Let's remove the gears. And let's remove the iron plates. Then we can move these out to a separate warehouse. To the excavation thing. We have some turrets available to us now. The turrets get more expensive as you build them. So this one costs 6,000 bricks. This one now costs 10,000 bricks. We're also going to need some walls to defend our drill. Alright, it's time to start digging. Fight the swarms. Level 4 to get to the silicone. We have a little swarm attacking us, but we should be good. Go down here. I don't know. That's not looking good. That was a close one. With the addition of silicone here, we were able to start a starter factory for Gen 1 chips, the green chips, which we were able to copy down. Blue science facility, producing only about 4 per second right now. Had to double our steel production because it was too slow. Blue science, we finished all the blue research, and we were able to add more turrets to the excavation. Then we had to battle level 8 to unlock oil. With oil being unlocked, we can start a fairly large oil factory. With that done, we can put down the new turrets. We can copy and paste sections of our factory to get the blue chips up and running. All right, we added a blue sign, or a blue Gen 2 chip factory to our factory, which enabled us to add blue science to our factory. Blue science setup. Made a small drone factory here just to help speed up the copy pasting. But most importantly, we have research points that we can now increase our edge throughput to 32. With some additional warehouses, we have some extra materials to add some more turrets. So we will take advantage of that, and then we will do a little reorganizing, making room for some extra stuff that we have available to us. And then we'll add some walls and start digging again. But in the meantime, we actually have a small power problem up here. We need to add some extra coal to these power plants so that they are functioning at full capacity. We will have to adjust each one of them. Might as well clean it up while we're here. And then we will copy an additional power plant down so that we have some extra power on hand. Alright, so while I've been building turrets and waiting for supplies, I've just been increasing our production so that we don't have to wait as long. So we have beefed up production quite a bit. This is steel over here, iron plates, bricks, copper plates, some Gen 1 chips. So we've got stuff being manufactured quite rapidly now. Alright, I've got all the turrets placed that we can place. We've got all the research done, all the upgrades done. So the last thing to do is dig down to level 16. We are currently at level 12. Level 16 to unlock graphite wasn't too bad. Mission successful. We now have graphite. Graphene unlocked, we can start working on the Gen 3 chips, the purple ones. We can just copy and paste parts of our factory to get stuff up and running. This is graphene down here making low K. This is copper cables. And we need aluminum and phenolic resin. Alright, there's our Gen 3 chip factory. Makes about 40 per second right now. We're going to do a little bit of overkill. We're trying to see how big we can go, so we might as well go big for the yellow science. So the yellow science factory ended up being quite huge. We work on consolidating that a little bit, but we are going to connect it up here. I should be making it at a good speed. We are going to see how long it takes to do all the yellow research. That is yellow science coming in at, let's see what it comes out at here. Looks like it's only 16 per second, so we'll have to see what the holdup is there. It is blue chips. Okay, so it only took me roughly 2 minutes to do all the yellow research. So we are waiting on white science now, which is the final leg. But we can go over to excavation now, and since we built a whole bunch of warehouses, which we will do shortly here. Zoom in here. We are going to build a boatload of warehouses and then up our turrets and then dig down deeper. Put down all the extra turrets that we have. Alright, we've got our turrets maxed out again. Let's go ahead and start digging. Work towards hafnium. Level 20 to unlock hafnium. Alright, level 20 was successful. Now we have access to hafnium. We can go back to the map and build some hafnium so that we can build the next turret. Alright, let's produce some hafnium plates here. Let's just grab, this is hafnium smelters here. Let's go for, I don't know, 4 of them. This is hafnium ore. as well as oxygen. Now we can add the new turrets. With hafnium up and running and a slightly increased blue chip farm here, we can go back to excavation and keep on digging. On to level 24 for titanium. We're going to hold out. So this will unlock titanium so we can build the next level turret. Good stuff there. Titanium unlocked, we need to add a titanium plates to the warehouse as well as yellow chip factory. For titanium we just need a whole bunch of titanium ore. And we can copy this oxygen and coal. And now for the yellow chips, a somewhat large build. Yellow chips require silicon germanium, HG copper cables, high K dielectric, phenolic resin, and heat sinks. So quite a bit of stuff we're going to need. 4, 5, 6 connections. So that only leaves us with 14 of them. We'll put a whole bunch of them down. We're going to go big with this build and try to do 100 per second. That is quite a few yellow gen chips, but we will see how it turns out. We need 100 of these. It's actually going to be 98 per second, but close enough. Node. Let's grab another node. Do the double node. And this will go to all the gen chip factories. Grab a copy of this low K. There's the setup for high K. Next up is 3 HG copper cables, so we're going to need 300 of them, which is going to require a crazy amount of ore. 300 of them requires 150 of these. That would be 150 of these, so that would be 1,500 copper ore. There is the HG copper cable setup. Next up is heat sinks, 100 heat sinks. There's the setup for heat sinks. Next up is 100 phenolic resin. And this is 100 phenolic resin. Next up we need 100 silicone germanium. The factory is quite large just for the gen chips here. Alright, so there is 100, well, 98 per second of the yellow Gen 4 chips. This is the silicone germanium plant up here. Can now put splash turret Mark II down. Can build a couple more of those and we'll dig down to the cobalt layer. With that factory complete and all the turrets placed, we can go ahead and dig down. We're going to try to make it to level 28, the cobalt layer. Level 28 for the cobalt. I put a ton of walls up here to try to slow these guys down up top, so that way they have time to focus on the bottom guys, and then hopefully they'll be gone by the time the top guys get here, but they'll probably all come at once anyway. There we go, that's cobalt unlocked. Now we can start building supplies to launch some rockets. Alright, next up on the list is white gen chips. We are going to try to create around 30 per second. They require, let's find them. Right here, they require 7 connections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 connections. So we can only do 8 per production parcel. We're going to try to do 4 of them, so we will do 32 per second. So white Gen 5 chips require 30 metal gates per second. That is the setup here. It also requires 150 high-grade copper cables per second. This setup is slightly larger than that, but you can always use extra. As well as 90 heat sinks per minute, 60 AP material per second, and finally 90 silicone germanium per second. That gives us all the necessary ingredients to make this madness to create Gen 5 white chips. You can take a quick look at the whole factory. It is quite large. With Gen 5 chips being produced now, we can start working on launching some rockets. We are going to shoot for 5 rocket parts per second, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that will require 20 rocket control units per second. 20 rocket control units per second will be 1,000 Gen 1 chips per second, plus a whole bunch of other Gen 1 or generation chips. So it's going to be a lot of parcels. The parcel count's really going to climb at this point. The rocket parts are going to require 20 fuel cells per second, which requires 2,000 oil per second. That is this setup here. We will also need 20 LDS per second. That is this here. And finally, we're going to need 20 rocket control units. So I'm going to do 2 parcels of 10, so we have enough connections. That is going to require 1,000 Gen 1 chips per second. We are currently only making 64 Gen 1 chips per second, so this is going to have to get a little larger. Here is the Gen 1 chip factory. I ended up doing 1,200 per second. That is the maximum you can transfer between nodes, so I figured might as well max it out. This is the existing Gen 2 chip factory. It's producing 125 per second. We're going to increase this to 600 per second. Okay, there is 3 factories making Gen 2 chips. Each factory is making 200 per second for a total of 600 per second. The game is starting to struggle, so we will see how far we make it. But I will try to zoom out and show you the whole factory. It's kind of hard to take in the whole scale of it because it is quite large. There's everything right now. This is our power plants right down here. So let's try Gen 3 chips next. Here's the existing Gen 3 chip layout. We're only making 40 per minute. We're going to go for 200 per minute. Here is 200 Gen 3 chips per second. Zoom in, take a quick pan through. You can see the sheer volume of parcels is crazy. Gen 4 chip factory is making about 98 per second. That's about the right amount that we want, so we're going to leave that be. As well as the Gen 5 factory up here, we're going to leave that be too. Next up, we will add a whole bunch of power, because once I kick this on, I have no idea how much power it's going to take. So I'm going to go a little overboard on the power. This is the current power setup here. I'm going to copy this over a couple times, and then we will fire it up. If there's all the power, I have no idea if it's enough, but we are supplying 370,000 power. So we'll see what happens when we kick the system on. We're starting to dip into the single digits on frames per second, so I'm not going to expand much more. We're going to hook it up and see what happens. I'll zoom out. You can kind of see the factory. But let's go ahead and fire it up, see what happens. It's getting really choppy, but we are pushing the game to its limits, so. Drag the last Gen 5 chips down here, and we'll hook them up and see what happens. Here we go. So we have plenty of power so far, but we're at 4 frames per second right now. So we'll see if it lets me zoom out. We're approaching 120K of power usage. We have 3,600 white science already. You can see the rocket parts coming in here pretty quickly. So we definitely achieved a good pace here. We already have 12,000 white science. Alright, we're up over 7,000 parcels now. I've just been going through, and if the inventory item is low, I've been adding more production for it. So we're up to like 5 million storage of each one. I'm going to do this last research here. There's one more we could probably do. I don't know if this maxes out. I don't know if this keeps going, but now our warehouse capability is 20 million. So we have plenty of supplies, but we're going to end this series by just seeing how far down we can dig. So let's go over to the excavation. We are at level 28. We're going to try level 29. I've added a whole bunch of turrets, so we'll just see how it goes. So that was level 29, not too bad. Alright, level 35. There you go, that was level 35. So we could probably dig down a couple more levels, but that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.